yourself a beverage, settle into the couch, and chuck that remote across the room. You are in the right place at the right time. Welcome, everybody, to the 55th Polaris Crandon World Championships with Ken Stout. I'm Chris Jacobs. Well, I just got the word that we are almost ready to race, so we are going to send it trackside for the guys who are going to call all the action, Miles Hasselquist and Ricky Johnson. Guys, down to you.
Well, thank you, Chris, Ken, and Marty. We are about to kick off Ultra 4 racing for the Rage on the Rocks. I am Miles Hasselquist alongside my good buddy Ricky Johnson. We are about to get this party started.
Let's talk about the difference. You see the yellow and also the white lights. Let's talk about that for a moment.
Yeah, so obviously it's the Rage on the Rocks at night, so
yes,
the different lights kind of cut through the dust a little better.
Well, and myself, when I race down in Baja, I like a little bit more yellow because it softens the light a little bit. If I get it too bright, too white, everyone thinks the more light, the better. I don't like that because then I lose my peripheral vision when I want to look outside. If it's got a bright moon or whatever, I can see some of that stuff. But a lot of lights on these cars because it's lit here on the infield, but not when we go in the back.
So the open class, again, they are live racing right now here for the Rage on the Rocks at the Big House. It is Paul Wolf and Jack Turner up front, and Paul Wolf, who just had a bad spin out on this same exact jump out front early. He dominated yesterday. Can he make it a three-peat in the UTVs? We'll see how it shakes out.
Well, Paul Wolf is a veteran of all different kinds of racing, and yesterday he was so strong on not just the short course stuff, which obviously you see he's pulling out a pretty commanding lead at this point, but a lot of racing going on. But he is a specialist in the rocks as well, so it's not going to surprise him when he gets back.
Yeah, Jack Letourneau in second place is more of a home crowd. He likes Crandon, but he's stepping it up and racing with us here at Ultra 4, so he's a short course guy. He doesn't know the rocks quite as well, and I'm excited to show everybody at home the rocks. And speaking about rocks, after the McCoy finish line, the Brannick boulders are there. We're going to cut hard left right there. You haven't seen this yet today, and they're going through the Brannick boulders with Paul Wolf out front, then Tyler Gibbs, Jack Letourneau, and Austin Braden.
Well, and I'm so impressed with the side-by-sides or the UTVs, whatever you want to call them. We were watching the other trucks last night, and they weren't going much faster with 40-inch tires. So unbelievable job by these UTVs with 35s.
And you can see there, they deviate off course. They are heading back to the Ultra 4 Crandon land. There's a big little drop they're hitting right now. You can't quite see. There's a little chicane. So whoops, there is Paul Wolf, our physical race leader, number 1018, with Wolf Racing. And he's already getting a pretty good lead.
Yeah, he definitely knows his way around this course. They have looked at it. They haven't done a lot of practice on it. So you're kind of feeling your way out the first couple laps. But Paul Wolf is such a veteran and such a great driver that he seems to know right the limit of that car. Because if you look at the front, even though on the bicycle, but he drives it on out.
And there's Tyler Gibbs, who did get around Jack Letourneau as he goes through that little roller section. And Paul Wolf, he will be racing this same exact car in the Pro Modified that is coming up next.
Well, then I talked to Kyle Cheney, and he was talking about it, that he was saying that his car was in the race last night, but he, the young driver got a flat, and then he had to pull over. So that is a veteran car that he's driving, even though it's the new style with the upper A arm.
And that was the boulders out back. This is what the crowd came to see. Short course is amazing, but the Rage on the Rocks out back is absolutely one to watch.
Well, and I'm pretty sure that these were just the rocks that used to be on the track when I used to race.
And they just kept putting them out back.
Just kept throwing them out back. No, I'm being completely sarcastic right there. But I love how they put this together. And you can see it looks like a couple little marbles, but you can see how difficult that is. And the drivers have to keep the momentum up and keep moving forward.
And that's Brandon Caveman Anderson on the inside, Kurt Mackey on the outside. There's Travis Solinger just out of screen as Mackey just kisses that flag right there. You have to stay in the rocks, and he's doing his best, but those rocks are bouncing him out as Anderson's trying to get around Mackey.
Well, and you look in the corner, it's 20 minutes plus one lap, and we're already 17 minutes to go. So these laps are going to take some time. It's not going to be as long of a race as we thought because the time will be there, but it won't feel as long because the laps are so long.
As Paul Wolf into the Polaris gravel pit already for his second time. He's got a great run going as he hits the Polaris sky jump.
And that's the thing, a lot of the guys will have to set their cars up because they don't want to slow down so much. Some of these jumps are pretty big, and so the guys, they have to check up before they go to the top. And now Paul Wolf wants to save his equipment and not just bonsai in here, but notice how he keeps a constant rhythm through there to stay up on top of the rocks and try not to fall down inside them.
Yeah, This sprint endurance for Paul Wolf, he is way out front, and again, he is in that open class. We have 3 classes going on out at the same time. What is an open car? You can have up to a 2,000cc maximum engine, including that Pro R, but build it, dream it, and make it happen. And then we also have the stock and the Youth 1K who run the same exact category, and it is an OEM chassis. Must use stock suspension pickup points. Reinforcing is allowed. Must run front body and side plastics. Rear bed can be trimmed to fit a spare tire. 1,000cc max engine and 33-inch maximum tire. The Youth 1K is ages 12 through 16, and we do have a couple of our young guns out there, Brian Fulcher and Tice Healy.
I also want to point out in 7th place, Todd Rimmery has now worked his way up. He's passing through the crowd. He is in the top 10, and he was the winner last night in the stock division, so he is definitely on a roll right now.
Yeah, Paul Wolf won the Open. Like you said, Rimmery won his stock class. It was great. Fulcher run the Youth 1K. As we're watching Paul Wolf once again at the back section for the Rage on the Rocks. All part of the big weekend for the 55th Polaris Crandon World Championships.
So let's talk about tires for a second, Miles. With these guys, what can they run as far as liners? We saw Gibbs get a flat yesterday, and that took him out. He had to start in the back. But what can they run as far as a liner?
It has to still deflate to a certain size. And again, the stock class can run a 33-inch tire, and a Open can run basically whatever they want. So
right, a 30. Most of them are running 35s, especially with that new upper A-arm that comes across the top of the Can-Am. You can't go too big. But a lot of guys, there used to be tire balls, and it was just, Dave Cole was saying it's just too much. The guys are just bonsaiing and going for it too hard. So now you have to think a little bit about that, pinching a tube, bending a rim, because you want to keep soft pressure to climb the rocks, but you also need that air pressure to keep from bending the wheels.
That must be Letourneau and Parker at Cowboy Corner at the backside, heading towards Potawatomi, turn number 1. There's Austin Braden. This is a great race we have on our hands, the first of 4 for the Rage on the Rocks with Ultra 4 here at the Big House as they're coming around Potawatomi, turn number 1.
That's the Letourneau with the 2 yellow lights, and then Parker behind him with just the front grille lights. I question why Parker is not running more lights, because it's not real bright in the back, but I guess he's going to go by feel a little bit.
Drive-by braille is what you got to do every once in a while as they're heading to the Polaris gravel pit. Letourneau and Parker trying to make it happen. These 4-wheel drive UTVs are really putting on a great show for everybody here on site and everybody back home on MAV TV.
And we can see Paul Wolf is up to a 6-second lead now over Gibbs. Letourneau and Parker are pretty much, you can throw a blanket over the top of them. So a lot of races still to go. We have just over 13 minutes as Letourneau works his way through the rocks, and Parker trying to chase him down.
It's been a great showing thus far. Paul Wolf in the lead for the Open class. He's got a great run going through the granite boulders. Looks like that is Paul Wolf once again, and back at the back section in Crandon land.
Well, this just shows you the veteran. You see how much light he's got. I mean, this guy has won everything from out of King of the Hammers to short course races around the country and stuff. He definitely knows his way around, and he's gotten a lot of seat time. So you see how much light he has and how quick he's attacking these rocks. He is not holding back.
And he was the 2023 winner here at Crandon last year in this exact class. We'll see if he can back that one up once again. We just saw him have a bad luck in the Pro 4 just a little bit ago, but he is looking good for the Ultra 4 Rage on the Rocks here at the Big House. It's been an amazing, amazing weekend, and we are just getting started tonight.
It looks like the Letourneau has broke away from Parker. We don't know what happened there. As we go back to our race leader, I'm pretty sure this is Paul Wolf as he works his way around. Yep. Now that is what they call the start turn. You go all the way down to the famous land rush start. If you look over to the left on the TV screen by your grid, that's where everybody comes rolling into turn 1, and we're going to see a lot of that tomorrow.
And Brian Fulcher and Nathan Parker's car looks very similar. That is Nathan Parker, the 150, but his teammate with Team Momentum, Brian Peanut Fulcher, has almost identical cars. So we'll have to do our best to tell those two apart.
Curious where Peanut came from. maybe he's a
little guy.
Yep. Maybe he's a big guy. I don't know.
No, he's only like 10 years old, I believe.
Yeah. So.
No, he's 12. And there's Letourneau coming through. cowboy corner. I believe that's Braden behind him. So where did Parker go? I am not sure. It's been a lot of fun. This was a 20-minute race plus 1 lap. We are about almost to that halfway mark, and we're back to number 2 position of Tyler Gibbs and that Maverick R. Those front A-arms, when they first came out, they were a little goofy, but they sure do work well.
Well, and as we said, that's Kyle Cheney's Hammer's car, which he's so fast in every race thing, everything that he does. But this is his car. This is really, really strong through the rocks. Miles?
Tyler Gibbs looking good in that 2nd position, but it's been so much fun watching. Thank you, everybody back home, for tuning in. We are going to step away from the action, but we'll be back live for the Rage on the Rocks here in just a moment.
This Crandon Ultra 4 Rage on the Rocks is brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places. Crown Performance. Know what the pros know. Crown Performance brake lines. And by Polaris. Think outside.
Welcome back to History in the Makings for the 55th Polaris Crandon World Championship. Tonight is Ultra 4 Rage on the Rocks, brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places. There's Paul Wolf out front. We just saw Nathan Parker, who is 3rd overall and 1st in class. That young man has something going on. He is doing some great things at the age of 15 years old. Nathan Parker doing great work out there on horse. All part of Rage on the Rocks with Ultra 4 here at the Big House.
We're looking at the last lap as we're watching Gibb work his way around. He was just under a second quicker than Wolf. So I know Wolf has a pretty commanding lead at this point of about 11 seconds, but Gibbs is staying there, so if he can put a push on, he might be able to make that time back.
And Ricky, look at this. When we started this race, you could see pretty good. The sun is almost gone for the night, and it's only going to get more interesting back in that back section.
Well, this is where you're saying, now I know why Paul Wolf has so much lights on his truck, on his car. You want to see as much as you can, and that's going to fill in the shadows, because even though they have a lot of lights here on the short course, you still, when you come around, you can't see through the shadows in the holes. You can't see how deep those dips are either, so it plays havoc with the driver's eyes.
And there's Tyler Gibbs, physical 2nd and 2nd overall in the open class in that Maverick R. And like you were talking about last night, he had a flat tire, but he doesn't tonight. We'll see if he can keep that car together for the next 3 minutes before that white flag comes out. And this 2.5-mile Rage on the Rocks, they're only on lap number 6. Last night, they did 15 on the mid-track.
Yeah, and it was more, we saw a lot of bicycling between Gibbs and Wolf, and they because they're running the cushions so hard. Now you see Gibbs is running a little bit shorter line, a little bit not quite as aggressive, not setting it quite so hard off the jumps. He knows that he has a little bit of time left, but there is not that much time. So right now I'm going to say there's about 3 to 4 laps left in this race. So if he's going to make a move, he's got to do it now, because he's still quite a ways back.
He's only got a couple more laps at these lap times. They're roughly that 3 minutes, so we'll see how it all shakes out. But tonight is all about the Crandon Championship rings, all about the trophies, and all about that paycheck taking it home. The 4400s does race tomorrow during the 9th annual Red Bull Crandon World Cup, but everybody else gets that championship ring, trophies, and a paycheck.
So right now as we're watching Gibbs as he works his way towards the back section, now we're back up to Paul Wolf. You can see he knows that car so well. If you look at the different A-arms, if you're new to side-by-side racing or UTV racing, you'll notice on Gibbs' car, the A-arm comes above the wheel, which a lot of people thought, oh, sticks are going to get caught. But I think it's a very dynamic move by Can-Am to go with that. This is an older Can-Am where it's more of an average, standard spindle, like most normal cars, and the A-arm is inside the wheel, so a little bit different. But right now, Paul Wolf is making this work because he's won in this car so many times.
He won in this car last year. He won in this car yesterday back-to-back, and it looks like he may be able to win this race 3 in a row this weekend. He's doing great things, but it's that Tyler Gibbs starting to reel him in just a little bit.
Well, and don't be fooled. I think the timing is off just a little bit. Gibbs is not 0.01 seconds behind Wolf. He's back a little bit more than that. So our timing is off just a little bit. If you look at Parker, he has him back 40 seconds. So there's a gap there, but not quite that substantial. So right now we see Wolf working his way into turn 1, and he still has 37 seconds. So there's a good chance that he's going to have to go 2 more laps.
I don't know. I don't think he's going to make it. It's going to be really close, Ricky.
He'll be right on the money.
The white flag may or may not come out. 25 seconds. I'm going to. Oh, I don't know. What do you think? Rock, paper, scissors? Yes or no?
I'm going to say they're going to give him the white flag. It's probably going to take about 8 seconds to get down there and about 12 seconds to get to turn to the finish line turn. So you got 10 seconds to go. I'm saying it's white flag.
And let's talk a little strategy. He could have his spotter in his ear saying, hey, back up just a little bit. That way we only have 1 more lap. You've got this race. So if I was playing strategy with my spotter, I'd back off just a little bit. White flag will be out.
Yep, right now as we're saying 2 laps. As he comes around, white flag is coming out. But you're absolutely right. That's the benefit of having a spotter. Hold up, hold up. You got a lot of room to go. Look at him. He's taking his time. He must have heard you.
So Paul Wolf, 1 lap to go. The white flag is out through the Brannick boulders. Paul Wolf in the open class has won every single thing he's done so far. We'll see what happens.
Don't want to jinx him. And I hate when announcers say, oh, he's won everything. He's got it in the bag.
And then doesn't.
And then doesn't. But he has done everything right as far as his preparation physically, mentally, emotionally, car prep, driving ability, knowing the track. He has been doing everything right, and that's why he's on top.
So Paul Wolf in the open class in first place, Tyler Gibbs in second place, and Jason Sushi in that third position, all in the open class. In that stock class, it is Nathan Parker, Austin Braden, and Travis Zollinger, 1, 2, 3. And then the youth 1K class as well. We still have Brian Fulcher, who is mid-pack as a 12-year-old, amazing. And then Tice Healy still trucking along.
Well, this is such a great experience to be out there with your father, a multi-time champion and one of the absolute superstars, I'm going to call it, of rock racing, because it does, as we said, it's a Swiss Army knife of race cars. But to be in there with your father like that, this is going to be the things you're going to take home for the rest of your life.
100%. And Paul Wolf has raced a lot this weekend, and it is his race to lose one last time through the Rage in the Rocks. For this race, that car will be out on course here in another 10 minutes to start the Pro Modified, as Tyler Gibbs is a 1 rock section behind in physical second place. That gives you that gap, that 20-second gap we see out there. And Tyler Gibbs, we saw him with great luck yesterday until that flat tire, but he's able to keep that car. And you can start to see the sparks come out when these bigger EMC cars and then the 4400s later, the sparks will be flying, and then fireworks.
Well, because sometimes the rocks get better with a little bit of rubber on them, because it gives you a little bit more traction. But when they're bouncing in between, they're knocking the dirt out from in between, makes that hole smaller. So in a perfect world, it's like Supercross. If you watch that, you want to skim right across the tops. But as we even see Paul Wolf, he works his way into the barn corner with just a couple turns to go. You got to make sure that you clean those rocks so that you can have a good time out here on the short course.
It's been one heck of a show. Just a couple more turns for Paul Wolf as he hits the skybox jump. And then he'll hit the Polaris gravel pit. And Paul Wolf, number 1018, with a great run once again out of Alton, Illinois, with Wolf Racing in that Can-Am X3. What a great showing he has done.
Kudos to his team for keeping that car so prepped.
So Paul Wolf, one final turn, Calamity Corner, and grabs the checkered flag at the McCoy finish line. What a great run for Mr. Paul Wolf, winning his open class. Such a great showing out there. Tyler Gibbs not too far back, and there he is. So about a 20-second lead over Tyler Gibbs will get him across the finish line. What a great run for Paul Wolf, Tyler Gibbs, Nathan Parker, Austin Braden. Man, Ricky, this was a great show. And don't go anywhere. We will be down with Pam Hall giving away those amazing rings, the trophies, and the checks. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this.
We are live in Crandon, Wisconsin, here at Crandon International Raceway for the 55th Polaris Crandon World Championships. Ken, Paul Wolf, 3 for 3. This guy's looking unstoppable this weekend.
3 for 3, and again,
We talked about him winning by 29 seconds last night. I forget what the first one was. It was close to that. The second one tonight, this third one, 26 seconds. I mean, he has absolutely dominated it. And this course, much, much tougher than the one that we saw last night with that massive rock garden. So hats off to a guy that can come out here and do it. There's no fluke when you do 3 in a row.
Well, speaking of Paul Wolf and his fellow competitors who finished at the top, we have Pam Hall standing by with them right now. Pam?
I am here with Brian Peanut Fulcher. You're in this top spot again tonight. How do you feel right now?
I'm feeling amazing and great.
I mean, you're 11 years old and you're out there racing with all these big names. Paul Wolf on the track at the same time as well. He is obviously a top of the box winner as well, but how do you feel racing out there with so many amazing drivers? Because you are one of those up and coming amazing drivers as well.
I feel great getting a lot of, watching a little bit of all of them, all the good drivers, watching their lines so I can learn more.
All right, we are now right here with the man of the hour. You were #1 in both classes last night. You got to go get in your car again. I know you're rushing right now, but you won last year. How does it feel to back up that win?
It feels really good. I'm glad to come out here. We had a little mishap in the Pro 4, so it's nice to redeem ourselves. A huge shout out to Justin Wills. Him and his crew have been thrashing on all of my cars and theirs.
Next up, Mr. Nathan Parker, you are in this #1 spot. You are a young kid as well out here, 15 years old, I still believe, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, you are. And here you are. You've had a lot of experience, a lot of mentors over the years, racing in multiple kinds of racing associations. But here you are in the #1 spot. How do you feel?
It feels great. Had a good race going. Just try to keep the car together mostly. Kyle was spotting me, and he kind of just kept me calm, kept the car together. And yeah, so just kind of put together a clean race and brought it home to the finish line.
Well, and you say Kyle, that is Kyle Cheney he is talking about, a very well-known name out here at Crandon. But Nathan Parker, who would you like to thank for getting you up here?
I'd like to thank Can-Am, Performance East, CT Raceworks, High Lifter, George from Double E Racing, and John, Jeb for helping me on the car, Alston, Kyle, High Lifter, KMC, Will Pros, and everybody else that I forgot.
Well, Nathan Parker, congratulations up here in the #1 spot. Amazing driver right here. Congratulations.
Thank you, Pam.
Back to the stage.
Thank you very much, Pam, for those interviews, and congratulations to the winners, including Paul Wolf. Just amazing performances.
Stuff.
Let's talk about those young guns. I mean,
I just love
like
the
seasoned
interview.
professionals.
How about that little guy? He rattled off a laundry list of sponsors right off the top of his head. Pretty cool. And I'm using that last comment. I want to thank and everybody I forgot. I want to thank everybody else and everybody I forgot. That's a great one.
More racing action from Crandon coming up on the other side of this break.
This Crandon Ultra 4 Rage on the Rocks is brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places. El Bandito Yankee Tequila. Break out the Bandito. And by Buzz Electric Bicycles. Buzz through life.
Welcome back, everybody, to the 55th Polaris Crandon World Championships here in Crandon, Wisconsin. Now, our race call is being done by Miles Hasselquist and Ricky Johnson. And guys, I may have misspoken. I may have confused the races and the classes. I think we combined one at the top of the show. So, Miles, Ricky, please let us know what the next class race is so we can clarify this. Once again, I am a rookie at Crandon, so I apologize for confusing any of our viewers out there, but these guys can clear it up for us. Miles, Ricky?
Oh, all good, Chris. You're doing an amazing job, Chris, Ken. It's been so much fun working with you guys, but this is the Everyman Challenge. The 4,500 and the 4,800 class will be racing 2 races at the same time.
Well, as we watch these guys go out, let's talk a little bit about the vehicles, because by the naked eye, they look the same as the 4400s, but they are single shock, and there are some limitations, Miles.
Yeah, so let's go over the 4,500 modified class. You can have 2.5 shocks per corner, limited to 14 inches of travel, mechanical steering, and a maximum of a 37-inch DOT tire, unlimited horsepower. It does have to be front mounted. In the 4,800 Legends class is the front or rear. And here we go, live racing. It is Ryan Webb getting that whole shot. shy. What a great race we have for the Rage on the Rocks during the 55th Polaris Crandon World Championship presented by Toyota. Let's go places, and it's still Ryan Webb up front, but look who's moved into second place early. Bailey Cole in that Jegs car.
Now you got to watch. See, they put some water down. The guys are having a hard time staying on line, but absolutely, Bailey Cole came from that second line, jumped out to the left, made his way around and inside off the barn jump. Now he is clearly in second place, but it is Ryan Webb who was our winner last night. So let's see. We still have a lot of racing to go. This is 20 minutes plus 1 lap, so we are just about 1 lap into the books.
I think we actually moved this one to 15 minutes plus a lap because we had some attrition set in yesterday. So it is Ryan Webb 1, Bailey Cole 2. That is Brian Tripp, who started in the rear because he blew that coolant hose yesterday. So he's already moved in that top spot, looking good right there. So we have a great race on our hands. We'll keep you as honest as we can with Ryan Webb, Bailey Cole, and Brian Tripp. Look, Brian Tripp doesn't have any lights. Is that by accident or what's going on there? That could get tricky in the back ring.
That could get very tricky. I mean, maybe he's got something that we don't know. Maybe he's got some military contact and he's running night vision. But as you can see, as they go into the darkness, going into the back, into that section, the lights are definitely helping them out. Now, Crandon has provided local lights where it helps you see a little bit, but as we see Bailey Cole trying to chase down Ryan Webb as they work through the back, they have not seen, and I'm sorry, Ryan Webb bicycles and does an unbelievable save, but it's Bailey Cole that takes over the lead. We'll probably get another look at that later on, but what happened is Ryan Webb came in, that rut was a little bit deep, put it on the bicycle, but he did everything right, turned into it, accelerated, and was able to come back and fight some more.
And look at that, Brian Tripp in that third spot with no lights. That is crazy. It's been so much fun. We are working on our timing as we speak, so we'll keep you as honest as we can. Thank you, everybody, for sticking in. It's been an amazing night, and this is our 3rd of 4. This is the Everyman Challenge. Up next is our grand finale. The big and baddest names in our fort, the 4400 Unlimited, will be coming into action here after the Everyman Challenge.
Well, I had the pleasure to race against Bailey Cole when we were racing the spec trucks a few years back. He was young, and we had to dice back and forth. He actually beat me at the final round up in Reno. So
I thought you said nobody's ever beaten you.
Well, the line is long and distinguished of people that have whipped my butt when it comes to racing, but I did enjoy it, and also it's great to see him mature as a man, as a racer, and now he is out in front and doing a great job because he struggled with a flat last night. So he's got to avoid that. Maybe he's not attacking the rocks quite as hard as he did last night.
And Bailey Cole, number 13, out of Johnson Valley, California, with Bailey Cole racing in that Trent Fab Top Shelf chassis number 1. That car in first place is 10 years old. Trent Fab builds one heck of a machine, and Dave Schneider puts his young gun of Bailey Cole in the driver's seat and talking him through this race. And we have 12 minutes yet to go before that white flag comes out.
And these are all-wheel drive, and you can watch how hard the drivers are trying to stay on line. As Bailey comes down, notice how it just drifts and pulls himself through. The track is getting it faster and faster as they go, but they have to keep adding a little bit of water. They only went one quick pass, but you can see that water flying up off of there. Now Bailey going out using the cushion, using that traction, trying to get a low exit so he can get off that jump with some speed.
And almost every single car you've seen race today has been independent front suspension. That is a live axle like an old school Jeep. And that's part of the rules in the 4800 and the 4500 class is a solid axle. Up next, the 4400s, most of them are independent front suspension like your cars, like a Toyota or whatever.
Well, I love you got guys like Randy Slauson and Eric that have stayed with the straight axle because they feel with the straight axle they get more articulation in the rocks, but here when it comes to Crandon and stuff like that, definitely the independent, but you can't have that in this class.
With the fastest time here in tonight's race is a 2:59 by Bailey Cole, followed closely by Ryan Webb and Brian Tripp. 1, 2, 3, all in the 4800 Legends class. So Brian Tripp trying to get around Ryan Webb. Tripp just put a supercharger on this car a couple weeks ago. They got it fine-tuned, and he's got the biggest horsepower in this race tonight as Brian Tripp's trying to chase down Ryan Webb, who did a huge bicycle earlier, but Bailey Cole is still out front.
Well, you know, you gotta love it when they handle down the straightaway. That was something that Buddy Baker used to say that when they would go, they handle down the straightaway. I mean, they got the big horsepower. That definitely helps. And here at the big house, you want as much power as you can. some lights wouldn't hurt.
That would help a lot, I think. I'm not jealous of that. I wonder if he's still wondering if he's turned it on or if he blew a fuse or what's going on, but Brian Trimp's still pushing.
And then we saw our leader, Bailey Cole, as he works his way into the rocks, and he's slowly edging his way forward. That last lap, he was 10 seconds faster than Ryan Webb, so he's got to keep that pace up. But you notice he's not going crazy, bouncing too much in the rocks. And you can see not getting a lot of traction.
And this is a 2.5 mile track with the Ultracross and the Big House track out front. Great to see, and we just saw the fans just a moment ago. It is absolutely packed back there for the Ultra 4 Rage on the Rocks, all part of the 55th Polaris Crandon World Championship. Bailey Cole out front, then it's Ryan Webb, Brian Tripp, Justin Myron, Jesse Oliver, Brandon Reed, and Larry Baglow. And Antonio Grijalva had a little bit of issues. I'm not quite sure if he started, but he is going for that international championship.
Just under 6 minutes, and we still see Bailey Cole out front with a pretty substantial lead. He's now up to just over 13.5 seconds, but it's not over. We still got a lot of time left. We still have 5.5 minutes, so we've been going this game back and forth. What are you going to say, 3 laps?
Let's see, yeah, I think 3 laps to go. So he'll come through here in just a moment, then he'll do another lap, so maybe even 4 laps, really.
Possibly. But and now will his spotter say, you know what, hey, give back a little bit?
We were talking about that about Paul Wolf in his first UTV race that he won, winning back-to-back, but I do think there's a little strategy going to that. So he comes through with 5 minutes to go, so he will do the next lap. Yeah, so it's 3 laps to go, Ricky.
I love watching Bailey's hands. Notice he's got him in a strong position at 9 and 3 as he works it through. You don't want to get your arms crossed, because even with that full hydraulic steering, if you hit a rock the wrong way, it can pull the wheel out and definitely damage a thumb or your wrist.
And we were talking about that earlier on, so let's finish that one up again. So hydraulic steering,
yes.
Exact. So lots of cars have rack and pinions, right? Hydraulic steering, exactly what that is.
Well, when you got a rack and pinion, the steering wheel stays in the same place. So if you look at your average car on the street, you have that fork across there with your cruise control, your volume on your radio, you got all these different things, because your hands kind of stay in that 9 and 3 position. With full hydraulic, you get bleed, and so the wheel will slowly turn from one side to the other. So when I jumped into that Spec King of the Hammers truck, I was lost because I didn't know where to go. I was trying to hold the wheel straight all the time, but you have to have a much more active steering, kind of back and forth. It's like, I explain it when you're snowboarding and you're skiing, going to your edges back and forth give you confidence, and by pulling the wheel back and forth, you definitely know where your wheels are at.
And Bailey Cole with a pretty good lead out there. He is capped it to 25 seconds. It was 14 last lap round. He's doubled his lead to 25 seconds over Ryan Webb and then Brian Trimp. Where is Brian Trimp? I was expecting to see him right behind Webb. So attrition is starting to set in as Bailey Cole clears the rocks once again. It's a great spectacle, and I love seeing all the fans out back watching the Rage on the Rocks during Ultra 4. And it's being a great show. Up next, the 4400 Unlimited. So, man, what a great show.
Well, here comes Trimp. As you can see, he's now he's fallen off the back because he's that silent assassin back there. He's running through the dark. He's got night vision. He's got something, but he is able to see Trimp up and Webb up in front of him. But now he has to go try to bridge that gap. So we're going to see probably 2 laps to go with 3 minutes left on the clock.
Yeah, Trimp Racing Services out there having a little bit of issues with their lights. Left to get that tuned up for the next one, but man, he's still putting it down. And Brian Trimp looking good, and Justin Myron, who I was talking about earlier, in that 4th position. And then it is Brandon Reed and Jesse Oliver in the 4500 class, 2nd and 3rd. We do have 2 races going on all at the same time, but scored separately, and it's so much fun to watch the Everyman Challenge. And speaking about that, most of these cars are garage built. The Everyman Challenge is exactly what it says. You can dream it, you can build it, you come race Ultra 4 and King of the Hammers.
Well, when you used to go to King of the Hammers, the Everyman Challenge was Toyota 4Runners, there were some Jeeps with stretching the frame. It was just kind of this craziness, and that's still out there. I love it because a lot of people are going there with the attitude, I want to finish. I want to do as many laps as I can, but you can see how much faster these guys are as Trimp works his way into the pit. So maybe he's got a flat. We do not know. We know that's Trimp because he has no front lights.
We know that for sure. He's having tough luck, but I like to call these cars the Swiss Army knife of off-road because they can race here at Crandon at the Big House doing short course, then go to King of the Hammers and race out there. They can race the desert. They can race a little bit of everything and do it well.
Well, here's what happened. Trent Trent, what happened was he's overheating. We saw him come out with a bag of ice and also with a fire extinguisher. They're squirting the water from the back of the radiator. See, they got that fire hydrant or fire extinguisher there. They're trying to squirt some of that mud out, then they'll throw some ice in front of it to try to get that cooling down. So Trent was definitely overheating with only with 2 laps to go.
What a tough break for him. So Justin Myron may sneak in. I know he's got a supercharger that is water cooled as well, so there's just a lot of extra moving parts back there. Hopefully they can get him in and out of the hot pits and get him out there racing. There's Bailey Cole, our physical race leader. Next time around for him will be the white flag as he's back in Crandon land. The Ultra 4, man, this is what we're putting on a show for everybody here on site, and I'm so glad MAV TV is showing it all over the world. We're making history, Ricky.
Well, we got to make sure that people know that they can get this on the app. A lot of people watch different sporting events and stuff, so get that MAV app on your phone so that if you happen to be out at a nightclub, you happen to be at the bar with your buddies or whatever, you can always pull it up on the app and watch this action. As we're watching Bailey Cole as he works his way through, a little bit slow through this back section rock, but he's got a huge lead. He's got 36 seconds over Ryan Webb, so he's just got to take his time, get that white flag, and then bring it to the finish.
And speaking about MAV TV, I know there's a lot of bars and restaurants that have that on. I know there's some watch parties going on, so shout out to you guys back at home for watching the Ultra 4 Rage on the Rocks, all part of the 55th Polaris Crandon World Championships. And Bailey Cole is around Cowboy Corner, and he is heading towards that white flag. It was 15 minutes plus 1 lap, and we have made that 15 minutes, so it's going to be probably an 18-minute race when we're done with this thing.
And as we say, as we see that banner down there for Toyota, guess who's going places? Bailey Cole right now. And if he can keep this up, he's going to the top box in that World Championship ring. That is going to be something that he's going to hang on to for the rest of his life. I don't want to jinx him. We've got another lap to go, but he is definitely in prime form right now.
Would love to have a Crandon Championship ring, and some of our Ultra 4 races are going to be getting those here soon. And it's looking like it's that Jegs Trent Fab car of Bailey Cole, number 13 out of Johnson Valley, California, with Bailey Cole Racing with that 750 horsepower Trent fabrication machine.
Well, this is that lap where you listen for gremlins. You're like, oh, I can't make a mistake. It's almost better to be in a race like we saw Tyler Remery and Paul Wolf, where all you got to do is keep fighting.
And the white flag is out. You see those Yokohama tires putting down the traction through the Brannick boulders for the final time. Bailey Cole out on lap number 6. A great run. We'll see if he can make it happen. To finish first you must finish. How far back is Ryan Webb? Myron did get around Trimp, and so did Bagwell and Brandon Reed.
I wonder how much Bailey Cole learned from last night. If you notice, it doesn't seem to be attacking the rocks like he did last night, getting that flat. And that's one of those things. It really wasn't his fault. It's just one of those things, man. You're hitting everything. So, like, you wonder, how am I not getting flats when it comes to racing this kind of situation?
Yeah, during practice the other day I was watching, and there was a lot of right rear flats, but I haven't seen too many tonight. I wonder if the rocks are getting beat down a little bit, or if the drivers are getting a little smarter, knowing where they're at. The spotters reminding them, hey, over here, oh, and there's Brandon Reed, part of the 4500 class with a right rear flat tire. We were both rear flat tires we were just talking about. So tough break there. We'll see if he can bounce. He's doing a little rock bouncing back there up the Rage on the Rocks back in Crandon land.
Well, he has to get a run at it because he knows he can't crawl. There comes a point where there's rock blasting. You just gotta make your way. And then there's rock crawling where you gotta pick your way through it, as we watch Bailey Cole. And on his last trip through the rocks, you can see him bouncing around, taking his time. This kid knows his way through the rocks, and I have to say, very, very impressed with his driving on the short course as well. So great job by him. He's got just a couple more turns to go, and he's gonna bring home a ring.
Man, Bailey Cole and that Jegs Trent fabrication machine putting those Yokohama tires to work. He's got just a half a lap to go. He is through all of the hard rocks. It's looking good for Mr. Bailey Cole. That is the son of Dave Cole, the Mr. King of the Hammers, and it's looking like an amazing, amazing weekend for Bailey. Great to see it.
Right here, this was the winner last night for the qualifier. This is Ryan Webb in the liquid Molly vehicle. I love that livery. very old school, very clean, very precise, but he did not have it for Bailey Cole tonight.
Yeah, Ryan Webb on screen, the number 71 set of that of Bossier City, Louisiana, with Kryptonite Racing and that Jimmy's 4x4 chassis in that second position. He, like you said, Ricky, he got first last night. Bailey Cole got third, and they are reversing that right now. And I bet you there he is, Bailey Cole, around the barn turn. It is looking good for that young man of Bailey Cole.
Well, this is, as I said, one of those things you're thinking about all these different things. Who am I going to thank on the podium? I can't believe I'm going to get this. Wait, hold on a second.
I still got
racing.
a turn.
I still got a couple turns to go, but doing a great job. I got to navigate my way around this lapper, try not to get tied up with him, and then bring it home. So great job right now by Bailey Cole with just one turn, one jump.
It's been a wonderful weekend for the 4,800 Legends and the 4,500. One more turn to go for Bailey Cole through Calamity Corner, and the checkered flag is out and flying. Bailey Cole officially wins this race. What a great showing by Bailey Cole. And a lap down is Brandon Reed, part of the 4,500 class. So much fun for the Everyman Challenge. We started these classes back in 2012, and they have only grown as Ryan Webb, physical second and in class. Man, he beat him by 30 seconds plus.
Well, but I gotta say, my hat's off to all these vehicles. They've been running them really hard. I mean, the intensity in this short course is much higher than out of King of the Hammers. King of the Hammers is a completely different animal, but we have that many finishers, a couple laps down, but they're still on the track.
And Ryan Webb will be grabbing the checkered flag here in just a moment. It's been a great show. Ryan Webb getting that second position. So much fun. So we're going to step away from the action, and we'll be right back after this.
This Crandon Ultra 4 Rage on the Rocks is brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places. Yokohama Tire. Make every drive a performance. And by Lucas Oil. Keep that engine alive.
Welcome back, everybody, to the 55th Polaris Crandon World Championships with Kent Stout. I'm Chris Jacobs, and with highlights of the race, let's throw it back to Miles Hasselquist and Ricky Johnson.
Thank you, Chris and Ken. It was so fun watching this race, and here they are. It was an early lead with Bailey Cole and Ryan Webb out front, pushing hard, and so Bailey Cole had to kind of battle his way early. Ryan Webb out front, but then he gets it. The huge bicycle, Ricky.
Big bicycle right here. You see him do a great job, turn into it and get it going, but that was the break that Bailey Cole needed. We can also see, the other drivers coming up right behind. Sorry, I'm so many going on. I've got the wrong sheets looking at. Webb was doing a great job, and he had some pressure from behind.
All good. And there is Brian Tripp with no headlights racing in the dark trying to chase down Ryan Webb. But there's our race winner, Bailey Cole, put on one heck of a show. It was so fun, and it was a heartbreaker for Brian Tripp. He had to pull in overheating issues. Tough luck.
Yeah, you can see, watch, they run out with a fire extinguisher, but it was this man that came to the back, Bailey Cole.
Bailey Cole grabbing that checkered flag. So much fun.
Thanks, guys. I am here with Justin Myron. Here you are up here in this number 3 spot. But right now, I want to talk about this. Last night, you drove 6 hours home, changed the engine in your vehicle, 6 hours back today. I passed you on the road as I was going up here to the office. But here you are up on the podium. How do you feel about that? Because you just said to me it was worth going home and changing that motor.
I feel amazing, man. We thought our weekend was done Thursday in practice. We lost the motor, and we packed up to head home, and the whole drive home I was kicking myself, but I pulled into the house, I called a couple good buddies, and they came over and we swapped that motor out. I got about 3 hours of sleep and came back today and got here just in time to do a little test and tune on it and get it out on the race course. So, I mean, it's just, I can't believe it.
Ryan Webb last night finished the heat race in the number 1 spot, but here you are up in second place. You had quite the bicycle to let Bailey Cole get past you. It's on film.
Oh, thank you. My window net was on the ground in the sand. I come into that sand trap, leading the race, and just come in too hot. Didn't realize the ruts from the UTVs had gotten so deep, and when I cut it, it just bicycled, and I mean, my window net was literally in the sand, and I cut it and just held it to the floor, and somehow or another it popped out of it. I was just like, whoa.
Bailey Cole in the 4,800 class this weekend. Jeg sponsored Yokohama Tire. Here we are up here in the #1 spot. You finished 3rd last night. Good feeling to be in this #1 spot for the main event.
Oh, so great. This is where we were hoping to be on the weekend. We didn't know there's a really fast competitors out here, but we were able to pull it off. So really awesome.
You did an amazing job out there. I mean, you got by Ryan Webb. You guys were probably going to be battling out at one point anyway, but who all would you like to thank for getting you out here this weekend?
First off, thank you, Dave Schneider, for letting me borrow his car. That car rips, so thank you very much. Elvis for getting the car ready to begin with. All my friends and family that came out, thank you guys very much. And then, of course, the amazing partners, Yokohama, Vision Wheel, no flat tires. I mean, I tried a couple times in those rock sections and it held firm. Yukon Gear and Axle, and of course, Jegs.
In the #1 spot, here we are, Brandon Reed up here in #1. Again tonight, you finished 1st last night, you finished it 1st again tonight. It looked like you were having a little bit of issues at the end of the race. What happened?
Yeah, we got a flat about halfway through, and then coming through the rocks, diffed out so hard it shut the whole car down.
Oh, goodness.
That was wild.
I'm Ken Stout, and from all of us here on MAV TV, we hope you enjoyed all the racing action from our coverage of the 55th Polaris Crandon World Championships.